Hello, this is Noel for Q&A Fridays, where I answer questions from our customers. So, do we have to ask your development team for reports? The answer is no. All of the data in the Mosio system that you collect, whether that is just message history or actual survey responses from your participants, you have access to that and can download that in real time. You don't need our development team to help you with that. Now, if you need custom reporting, there's some other components, there's data in there that you know that you'll need. Then our development team can run custom reports, but to get the raw data, survey responses, things like that, you can export those via CSV on your own. They're uploaded and updated in real time, and you have access to that with your login. Do we have to ask the development team to edit or update surveys? So this question gets asked a lot. In our system, you can actually create the surveys yourself. So you can say on this question, for question 1, yes, no, 1 through 10 for your response, those things like that. What a lot of our clients do is they have our development team set up initially their surveys or any functions of the system, and then you can go in and make those edits. So you have the ability to do those things on your own, or we can set those up and then you can make those changes. But effectively, you don't have to ask our development team to do those things if you want to do them on your own. So it's entirely up to you. How many countries does Mosio work in? That's a great question. So we have what we call true two-way texting capabilities in 50 countries. What that means is that in those countries, and we can provide you a list of those countries, in those countries, study participants or patients are sending to and receiving from a number within their country. So we can send text messages anywhere in the world, but if you're using an international texting number and you're sending it to someone and you ask them to respond back, they may get an international texting charge on their bill, and that's not what we want. So with our true two-way texting, we actually have not only access to those countries, but we also have people on the ground, testers, to help us test in those programs as well. For a full list, and the list is growing we have about a half dozen messaging providers. That list is always growing. If you see the list and there's a country that you have a study running in and you're not sure if we have access, you always ask, because we can reach out and find out if we have connectivity there. Now, if we have connectivity but we don't have testers, then we don't say yes, because to us, not having someone that's able to help us test in that country, it doesn't mean that we have access. I hope that makes sense. Our study has both English and Spanish versions. How would that work? So this happens on a number of different studies. Basically, we set up 2 different instances of those languages. So if you're familiar with storylines, and let's say you have a weekly survey that's going out, and we have a weekly survey in Spanish and one in English. We just set up 2 different storylines and 2 different surveys, and then at the site level, you choose what the participant's going to get. If they're going to get Spanish, if they're going to get English, and then you would send them down that storyline. It would require some custom configuration, but you could have the option to have them choose on their own. Frankly, that's not what normally happens. Normally at the site level, the staff asks them, would you like to get your messages in Spanish or English, and then they will enroll them in that particular storyline to make sure that they're getting it in their desired language. Do you offer translation services for message content? So our clients typically provide, if it's in multiple languages for global studies, our clients provide us with the content. One of the things that our development team is putting together now is default content, which would be, just the content. So for an appointment reminder, thank you for confirming your appointment, or thank you for your message, we've received it. That would be default content that's in those other languages. But if you have specific messaging content, which almost everyone will, then clients provide that. We are looking at extending those services for translation, but right now, as of this video, our clients provide the translated content. Can you give us more information we can share with our IRB? Yes, so there are a couple of things. One is we can provide our privacy and data security statement, which is helpful. IRBs typically like to know that Mosio is focused on research, and that's all we do. That's helpful. We also have a white paper that we wrote on HIPAA compliance and text messaging, which is also helpful. And then finally, we have, through storylines, which I just mentioned, we have an Excel template, and some of our clients actually will fill out their storylines. On this day, send this survey or send this message content at this time. They'll fill that out in the Excel spreadsheet, and then they'll actually submit that spreadsheet to the IRB. So the IRB can see all the messaging content, see the timing, see everything. And in some cases, we've had clients come back to us and say, okay, there were some changes to the content, and then they submit that to our development team, and our development team makes those changes in the system. Other than that, if there's any additional questions that anyone has, we're happy to respond to those. But what we found is that those 3 separate documents, and usually it's just those first 2 that I mentioned, that our clients are using to submit to the IRB. There's other documents that we get asked for with regards to submitting for grants, such as letters of engagement or things like that. But that's obviously a different question. But that's pretty much what everyone gets from us to submit to the IRB. And if you have any questions, obviously let us know. So that's it for me today. If you have any questions, please contact support. We're trying to answer as many of these as possible on video so that you can understand where it is that we're coming from and what it is that we're trying to do here. We appreciate your interest in Mosio, and we look forward to working with you soon. Thanks.